Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome for another episode of Market Leader Live. Hey, it's your host with the most, your main man, Darren M. Farmer. Excited to be with you for another episode. You know what we do on this show. We have those who are actually doing what they had in their hearts to do. When everyone said that they were crazy, that they're nuts, why are you doing this? Why are you stepping away from this strategic lifestyle? They chose to think outside. I'm just saying, just break the whole darn box and live life on their terms. So today we got one of those people out there who decide to change the world, Miss Lindsey Wander. Say hello to everyone, Lindsey.
Hi, everyone.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Lindsey, for coming on. And if you don't mind, the information will be in the show notes when others are able to check out the show, but we're live right now. Why don't you just share with the audience who you are and what you do for as a company?
So my name is Lindsey Wander. I started WorldWise with an S, WorldWise Tutoring about 9 years ago in Chicago. And we've been working with children all over the world. We're in person in just a few states, namely Illinois, Texas. I have some in California as well, but we're working online with kids from everywhere. And the whole point of the company is, we're still helping kids get good grades and good scores, but we really are working on helping them to be good people. So we're working on the things that aren't necessarily taught in school, like their metacognition, which is thinking about how they think, their executive functions, which is about their planning and getting stuff done, but also even their interpersonal skills, like their empathy and their leadership and their growth mindset. So the whole idea is to get them to be competent and conscious leaders. We want them out there, moving and shaking and being active agents of change in their life and the world around them.
Awesome. I love this. I love this. And Lindsey, you shared a little bit about the overall theme and the mission of the company. And I know those who are looking at being market leaders, we talked a little bit in the green room about this before we went on air or went live. The pandemic. At the time of the recording of this, it's the elephant in the room. We can't hide it. We might as well address it right now. What have you done as the owner of the business to make sure that your team is prepped and ready for this year's school year with all the influx of business that's coming your way?
So, a lot of the things that people are realizing are essential skills are things that we've been doing all along. I think people just thought, I'm handing my kid to the school and the school's taking care of it. And then they had their kids home for a few months and they're like, my kid can't do anything. My kid is not self-directed, cannot initiate tasks. And those are really things that we work on. So one of the first things I did was really change our messaging to make sure that people were understanding this is stuff that we're actually teaching. I used to just call it learning and life skills, and now I'm getting more into what is it we actually do. And then we've always said that we work with kids, all ages, all abilities, all subjects, but I'm getting a lot more people with younger kids who probably never thought they were going to be seeking a tutor at it for their first grader, but now they're really seeking that additional help because they, that's not their area of expertise. They're not teachers, they're a mom or a dad and they have their own career and they don't remember what they learned in first grade. And I get it. And we're with the experts in this category. So I have recently brought on close to 30 new instructors who specialize in the younger kids and also students with more developed learning difficulties, so that I'm making sure that we can serve those people who are really struggling with this remote or hybrid learning situation we're in.
Now, I hear you sharing that, and that's a brilliant idea. And I think what's on my heart with this situation, with having children of my own and seeing the task that's at hand, I love that you took the leap, Lindsey. And so I don't want, even though you're doing a wonderful service, you're actually changing lives. You're allowing for people to be able to continue to follow their dreams and passion as well with parents for their careers and not have the woe is me, I'm a horrible parent, because I'm not able to still do algebra. Things have changed, even how to do the problems now, what they're requested from the school, especially, when I was at school as well. So let's go back to Lindsey, before you created the company. What allowed for you to have the mental fortitude to continue to go ahead and create the company and follow through? Because you could easily be somewhere just prepping like some of the, and it's not knocking anybody out here right now when I'm saying it, just stating facts. You could easily be a part of a school district somewhere right now, but you created worldwide tutoring and whatnot. So take us to that part of your life with the mental fortitude. Because you could say, man, my pension, hey, I might need to wait to retirement. What allowed for you to take that next step and move forward with this company?
So, one of the things you said in the beginning is, these people who take these leaps and everyone around them is saying, what are you doing? That's exactly what happened to me, because I actually went to school originally to be a biomedical engineer. And then I switched to be a teacher, and a teacher in low-income neighborhoods nonetheless. And I was actually told I was wasting my intelligence by becoming a teacher, which is just mind-boggling to me. But one of the things, even in that shift and in other phases in my life, when I later on switched from a well-paying, stable job of being a teacher to owning the company and having to go back to 7 days a week, taking every job opportunity I could, one of the things that gets me through all those is I always follow what feels right for me. And I don't let other people's doubts and fears and worries really stray me from that path. And some people might call it intuition, some might call it that gut feeling, but I really just go after what I know feels good and what I know is going to make me happy, even if people think I'm crazy. I mean, there's been times I picked up and moved across the world by myself and people are like, what are you doing? But it felt right. And looking back, it was exactly what I needed to do. Same thing with the career change. So that's the biggest component, is really listening to yourself. Yes, sometimes it's good to get advice from other people, but if they're coming to you from a place of fear and worry and maybe their own self-doubts, take it with a grain of salt. Go after just what feels right. Really listen to yourself first.
I told y'all, don't allow for the little young face to fool you. Lindsey is hitting us in the head with some valuables like my man Gently Dumas talks about. I mean, it's so many gems. We got to unpack some of that stuff right there that you gave us. It's like that Campbell soup commercial is good. Lindsey is giving it to us. And so what I want to look at this, down south, we have a dish that we like to eat, especially known in Louisiana for as gumbo. So gumbo, you have a little blue crab, you have shrimp, you might have chicken, boudin, and all that right there. That's what Lindsey just did for us or whatnot. Being a chef or professional development myself, I just want to just focus on one of the ingredients that you shared with us as well, of the intuition. Knowing that as well, for those who are tuned in for this, you must have the mindset to know that the vision is yours. Mm-hmm. It's okay. The vision is yours, but it's twofold with the vision is yours. For those of us who are looking at being market leaders and those who are already entrepreneurial or they're business owners, let's not get so upset at those around us, because some of them are really just giving the best advice that they can give us. Mm-hmm. And I think that the hater route, and I know there are haters out there, don't get me wrong, but I believe some really their intentions are good. Mm-hmm. They only can just share with you, as John Maxwell talks about the law of the lid. They can only give you what they have. Mm-hmm. So when you've gotten that aha, that epiphany, it's not that others want to hold you back in most cases. They're only able to share with you what they have. And so I want you, those who are listening to this today, to first take that nugget, but also what Lindsey shared with us of the importance of moving ahead anyway, taking it with a grain of salt, being able to know that, hey, I know your intentions are well, but this is a gut feeling that I have. I'd rather at least try, because I can always come back and do the teacher's job. Mm-hmm. I can always come back and get hired for as where I'm doing in sales or in pharmaceuticals or corporate. I can always go back to that worst case scenario, but I don't want to live my life to the point where one day I look back and have to say, what if? Mm-hmm. That's a nightmare for me, Lindsey, or whatnot. I don't ever want to live life with what if. I'd rather deal with whatever is in front of me. And, as my mom would say, use your own head. I would rather, if I'm going to get in trouble for something, if I'm going to fall into some mess, I'd rather that I made that decision. And for those who are listening out here right now, you have to make a decision for what you want to do in your life and move forward. Another thing that I was able to gather from the things that Lindsey has shared with us as well is that she didn't know that the people that were employed by her now were going to be employed. She just had to take the first step. For some of you out there, I think that we can plan ourselves to death, that we didn't see the pandemic happen. We didn't see COVID-19 happening. But you need to be able to be nimble and quick and be able to pivot. So why am I bringing that up with Lindsey? Because she has started creating that muscle from her switching majors or transitioning into different careers early on. She never knew that she was going to start this back then, but those transferable skills. So it wasn't wasted what she was doing in college. It wasn't wasted being able to have that dexterity to be able to withstand what people said from going from one degree to the next. So even though you might didn't get that degree that you wanted, or you got a GED, or even though you wasn't the best at what you did, we run the #1 self-publishing company in the world, but I failed British Lit. But who cares? So right. I want you just to keep that in mind. And Lindsey, as far as you, let's talk about team building, because it's one thing that you got a heart. It's one thing that you have a passion to do what you do, but building a culture and working with people can be tough sometimes. So what are some of the things that you have utilized to switch from just a technician to actual being a business owner, creating a culture and bringing other people in?
Well, I actually think, and kind of to speak to what you were just saying, you know, when you have all these different experiences in your life, they actually can culminate, and you don't know what you don't know. But then looking back, you see, oh, that actually taught me something that I'm using today. So, you know, taking every opportunity, just take that leap, because you never know down the line what it might teach you and a lesson you can learn. And I say that because as a teacher, being a classroom teacher, I was a leader of the classroom, and I had to really understand that everyone's coming to me from completely different backgrounds, from completely different mental states, from different learning styles, different background knowledge, whatever it might be. And I had to be able to quickly read the room, read each individual person, and give them what they needed. And I think that that's really transferred over to what I do now, because I'm able to not just assess and read people, but I'm also able to relate to people on a personal level rather than a transactional level. I'm able to them for who they are. That also probably comes from some travels. Some of those times I picked up and moved across the world by myself that everyone was freaking out about. Well, you know, I put myself in situations with people who I didn't know, and I had to figure out who I was and learn who they were. And you learn a lot of skills that really have transferred over to what I do now in my ability to read people. And I think that that's the stem of, you know, being a good team leader. It's not about the leader, it's about their ability to interact with the people they're leading and to inspire greatness in them. And in order to do that, you have to see them first. You can't just fit them into the mold that you've created of greatness. You have to see who they are, help them find their own unique voice, forge their own unique path, and really give them the support and guidance to do what's already inside of them. They just need that extra support. And that's when you really are inspiring and then really motivating and making changes, because you're bringing people to a place of genuine happiness because they're being authentically themselves rather than trying to fit a mold of what someone else has created for them. And I think that that also is part of my own experience. You know, I was automatically labeled as like a math and a science kid, and you must be engineering. And, you know, that wasn't my authentic self. I'm not the kind of person that sits in a lab and does lab work all day. I need people, you know, and by following my own unique path, I really did get to a place where I am genuinely happy at work and I'm genuinely happy outside of work. And that amplifies, people feel that, they feel that passion, that authenticity, and it motivates them to do the same.
Goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm taking the words from the great Alicia Keys. This girl is on fire today, y'all. I'm telling you, wow. You all, did you hear what Lindsey shared with us? And this is just a podcast. This is just the show. I mean, that information, if you implement what Lindsey just shared with us, I'm telling you, some of you are ensnared to the thoughts of others right now. You're doing things just because it was going to make your mom proud because she didn't get to finish her degree in that. You're doing a sport right now for some of you out there because your dad messed around there and messed his knee up when he was a varsity letterman, and you're trying to fulfill his dream, whether it's in baseball or soccer. So many of us find ourselves, and they say, where did the midlife crisis come from? Where's all this stuff with this mental health? Yeah, I know food and other things that have to do with it too. I believe the biggest cause is because a lot of us are living a life that's not ours. Mm-hmm. We are so afraid of disappointing someone who we care about so much that we're actually forfeiting unknown heavens that we could be a part of, living what we were supposed to do because of the fear of what others in our little community, our little cycle, what we do. So if you're not careful, you find yourself living a life that you don't desire. And I'm bringing this up because Lindsey was sharing about the importance of her finding herself in a place now, ideally being happy at what she does for as a career, and also happy in her personal life, where really the two aren't even separate. She's just happy with life. Yeah. So now it's lifestyle now. It's not the separator. So she doesn't have to be like, oh, my OMG, I can't believe that someone asked me about tutoring and I was eating. Well, it's the weekend, and this is specifically when you're doing life and you're being who you're supposed to be, it fuels you. So when you hear Lindsey talk, she's being fueled because she's operating in her flow. She's allowing herself to be totally who she is, not being isolated by somebody else's opinion who she should be, and move forward. And I want to go back to Lindsey about you getting yourself out of basically not allowing labels to determine who you are and where you are going, and being willing to be able to see people. I think that's profound. And there are others out there, no matter if you went to Wharton School of Business or whatnot, you have to understand people. So those who are listening out there, I know it's nothing against anyone, but you can get as many ClickFunnels as you want to. You can do as many YouTube ads. You can have ad spend. You can do all this other stuff that sounds very good. But if you don't understand people, if you can't read people, if you don't know what allows for this person to tick, it might not be the raise for that person or the bonus. It might be finding a way to include their happiness as far as their nonprofit of their choice. This other person, it might be their grandkid that likes them, fires them up. For somebody else, it's just being acknowledged in front of a group of people because you don't know, but they haven't been shown love or the type of respect at home, or having a respect for someone else's culture, to take time out to understand what's important to them, whether it's their faith or taking time to even learn a little bit. You don't have to be fluent, but know a little bit about their language or where they come from to show that mutual respect. So I think, Lindsey, when you talk about, what they call quote unquote at-risk areas and kids that you work with, to even traveling to other places or whatnot, I think that has allowed for you to be a wonderful leader because you shared it first. You understand people. And moving forward, Lindsey, where do you go from here now? What do you want your legacy to be, so to speak? I'm not saying that you have to have it all together right now, but you've accomplished a lot and you're an inspiration for so many of us. Where do you see this going, what you're doing right now?
I really want myself and also my instructors to provide kind of what a lot of us didn't get as kids, to have that safe space to question, to explore, to think, I'm kind of interested in this. Let me explore it and see if that takes me somewhere. If not, that's okay. Also a place to fail safely and to be resilient and to come back from that. Because I do think that a lot of what we do in society is we really protect our children from any kind of suffering. And I understand that comes again from a place of love, but what we're failing to do in that situation is give our children the opportunity to build valuable resiliency skills where that they can, next time when they fail or have a setback, they can then use those skills to still push their way through and become successful from it. So I really also want to provide a safe place for failure or for struggle, and to help kids see that that's inherent in growth. It doesn't mean you're dumb or you're lazy. this is how you grow. This is how you learn. This is how you become better. I mean, we experience it. All of us do. We have ups and downs in our life, and that's how we become better. I also want to have a place where the kids can really figure out who they are, back to that authentic, genuine selves, and to really break again out of those molds, because kids are under a lot of pressure to, again, live their parents' dreams. But on top of that, now we have social media with all of this, and we have, all of the peer pressure, plus the weight of everything that's going on in the world around them. And so they really are dealing with a lot emotionally. So helping them to manage those emotions, to find what's really meaningful to them, and then to direct their talents, their natural talents, in an effective way so that they can make a difference in their lives and in lives around them. And I just, I feel like coming from being in a classroom, traditional schooling is so focused on content and, getting these major things memorized and hitting these milestones. And I get that, but there's just not a lot of time for all this extra stuff, which is extremely essential to development of these youth into these adults who are going to be leaders or lawmakers or voters, and it is really important that we give them the skills so that they can be active, healthy members of society. So it's like investing in ourselves in a way. And that's really where I see my legacy, is it the ripple effect, and there is, again, a ripple effect of that. How you help one kid, you see the transformation in that family. You see the transformation from the parents, and then you just got to think how that expands out. And it really is just a beautiful thing where you can just really start internally and sharing that with other people.
Liz, I just got a question, just like off the record, but do you just think this was innate in you? Like, what was that trigger for you for the love of people the way that you have? Because this isn't something that just a ploy that you just did to do business. I mean, this is genuinely who you are. Like, even when you even went and taught at some of the districts and the areas and schools that you did, I mean, you didn't actually have to be there,
right.
But you had to be there because it's who you are. And if you don't mind, could you let's talk about that a little bit? Like, where did that come from? What clicked? Like, just enlighten us a little bit on that mindset.
I think it's probably my own personal experience as a child. I was always very smart, but because things came so easy to me, I was actually a behavior problem, because I was annoyed with other people for not getting it faster or for not doing it the way that it could be done better. And I see that a lot of these things we see in children that are problems are actually a symptom of something else, that we're trying to put them in this system that just really isn't working for them. And there were certain times in my life where I had people step in to be that coach or that mentor who really saw me for who I was, who would spend that extra time after school realizing I wasn't a behavior problem. I needed just more. I needed more attention. I needed more stimulation, more engagement. I just needed more. And they would spend that extra time with me. And it really just got me to love learning. And once that starts, once you bring that innate love of learning back out into children, which sometimes we often suppress by just saying, learn this, do that. We often suppress their curiosity, their creativity, their innovation. But when I had someone who really saw my interest and tailored things to me, it got me to love learning again. And then you can't stop me after that. Once I love learning, there's nothing I'll pick up every book. I'll try every single thing. And I think that's probably where a lot of it stemmed from. I really wanted to share that with others. And, when I originally chose to work in the at-risk neighborhoods and the low-income neighborhoods, I was in South Central California. It was, a lot of it had to do with just being a mentor of someone that these children could look up to, who truly is excited about what they're doing and genuinely loves them. And yeah, I'm tough on them. And yes, I'm giving them strict guidelines, but it's all coming from a place of love. And kids are naturally intuitive in that, and they see that. And it was just, it's a magical thing when you can really be able to be heart to heart with someone. Kids are easy to do that with, and kind of just see what blossoms from there.
I love that, and I'm glad that you shared and went in detail on that, because I think a message or a story like yours is something that needs to be shared or heard from, and especially in this day and age, where you just got a lot of chaos on different sides. I think we have more in common as a whole as human beings than most people give credit to. Typically, they just get caught up on the toxic stuff that's on airwaves for ratings. But when you hear stories like this, like I said, this wasn't a camera following you. You didn't get an endorsement deal for 20 million because you was there at the schools. You genuinely cared. You wasn't a run over. You couldn't be pushed over. You was there for them to make sure that they did it. They created disciplines like you shared before. It came from a place of love, and I see that transferring into other things that you're doing too as well. So for those who are tuned in and listening to this, Lindsey, just before we close it out, what is the process? So say, for instance, if someone right now is saying, you know what, I don't know how I'm going to make it. For some, they start in September. For us in Texas, we've been at it for a few weeks now, actually about 3 or 4 weeks now. So for those who are looking and saying, I need that service immediately, and some with the Southern twang might say immediately, proper English, but at the same time, what is the process? If they wanted to connect with your company, if they want to utilize your services, what is that process? Like, say, for instance, they got someone, a sophomore in high school, who needed help with algebra. Where do they go and how do they connect with you all?
So the best place to start is our website, which is worldwisetutoring.com. On there, you'll see things for academic services. We also have a whole bunch of enrichment classes, because one of the things I saw right away is the kids just weren't excited about learning anymore, and it broke my heart. And so we developed a bunch of enrichment classes. I told my instructors, hey, let's develop classes, pick something you're into. And they were so excited too, to be able to pick a bunch of classes. We have crochet and origami and coding and acting. We have it kind of all over the place. But even those, you can interweave in these learning and life skills and really walk away with valuable lessons. The website also has, a bunch of resources for parents, because I'm noticing that a lot of things that we do as educators, I want to be able to share those with parents to help ease off their shoulders some of the worry and the stress that they have. Because I think they think they have to be all these things and do things a certain way. But sometimes if you just sit back and even let your kid be bored, that's okay. That's where creativity comes in and innovation happens, or just communicate with your child rather than trying to play this guessing game of what's wrong with them. There's just certain things you can do that are actually much easier. And it gives you a lot of insight and provides your child with a lot of skills. So I've shared a lot of those methods through the blog on my website for parents who are struggling as well. We're also on all social media. So I have, I've been trying to kind of dilute some of my tips on social media, especially Facebook, where, every day I'm giving a tip of how to get your kid more focused, how to get your kids more confident, that kind of thing. So you can check those out as well.
Awesome. Definitely make sure that you reach out to Lindsey Wander and the whole team at Worldwise Tutoring. Lindsey, I'm just honored to have you on the show. I don't know if anybody else got anything from the show and when we were listening to it, but I did. I got notes. We might actually be calling you for our kids or whatnot to see if we can get into tutoring as well. And so I thank you so much. And thank you for just being a change agent, because if you were doing something bad, it's easy for people to highlight that, but you're doing a phenomenal job at the things that you're doing, because I'm bringing this up as we close it out. It's the ripple effect. What does it mean to that one kid who's helped? And now they're able to give a few tips to the person who wasn't able to get the tutoring. What does it mean to their brothers and sisters if they have siblings? Who will that person end up being, the mindset that they have? What does that allow for that relationship if someone is married, or they have a relationship with a significant other? The ramifications with the stuff that you're doing, I'm telling you, it's amazing to see what you're doing or whatnot, and it's generational. So for those who are listening to this, reach out, go to worldwisetutoring.com, go to and find them on, I think, Instagram, Facebook, the whole nine, and we'll have information in the show notes. But before we get out of here, Lindsey, any last words to the audience before we close it out?
I would just encourage people to really follow their intuition, like we talked about, and really do what's right for them. And as long as you're, following your heart and leading with your heart in everything and just doing the best you can, you're not doing the wrong thing. If you do everything from a place of love, then that's good. You're doing the right thing. Even if it may not always work out, you still did the right thing.
Awesome. Operate with love. You heard it here on Market Leader Live. I know that you're thinking, Darren, we didn't hit you with any YouTube ads. We didn't hit you with the macho stuff. But if you understand people, operate in love, you'll be shocked where you'll find your business and your life. Operate in happiness in all areas of life, like Miss Lindsey Wander and your boy Darren M. Palmer. Until next time, if you want change, be the change. Be blessed and be great.
Thank you.